Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market, where I take a look at the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. I do it because I want you to be informed. It never hurts when you're a consumer to be informed. Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. This is for last week, for the week of November 21st to the 28th. We're going to start, as we always do, with the luxury market. There were 15 contracts signed at $4 million and above. That is 2 fewer than the previous week. Likely Thanksgiving had a bit of an impact on that, created a kind of lull in the action. There were 13 condos, there were 2 townhouses that went to contract, and there were no co-ops, $4 million and above, where we had a signed contract. So we're going to start, as we do, with the number 1 contract that was signed last week, and that was a townhouse at 15 East 90th Street. It was asking $29.5 million. It started on the market in July, which, when you think about it, really wasn't that long ago. The seller purchased the red brick neo-federal house in January of 2020 for $14.3 million and finished a renovation this year. The house was built in between 1927 and 1928 by legendary architect Mott B. Schmidt. It is 25.5 feet wide, and it has a little over 12,000 square feet. It includes 5 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, and an elevator. It has 2 gyms, a garden, and a terrace off the top floor. The number 2 contract was a sponsor unit at 325 West Broadway. It was Penthouse W. It was asking $18.5 million. It was raised from $17.5 million when it started marketing off of floor plans 6 years ago. Now the building is finished, the condo is finished, and so now it is in contract. The condo has 4,406 square feet. It includes 4 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms. It has a great room, a dining room, and a master that open onto a 718 square foot landscape terrace. Lovely. Amenities in this 21-unit, 10-story building include a doorman, a gym, bike room, and storage. Just for perspective on the luxury market, before we shift over and start looking at the statistics for last week, the 10-year Thanksgiving week average is 16 signed contracts. So at 15 signed contracts, we're really not too far off the mark. Now we're going to take a look at the statistics for last week. We're going to start with the total weekly asking price sales volume, $132,138,000. The average asking price, $8,809,200. The median asking price, $6,495,000. The average discount from original ask to last asking price, 6%, and the average days on market, 827. So here we are. We are almost in December, and we are closing in on the end of the year. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with contract activity in the luxury market. Again, that is for properties priced at $4 million and above, as we head into this final month of the year. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Post your questions below. I'm happy to answer them. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you find this kind of information helpful to you. And as always, feel free to share these videos if you think they would be useful to someone that you know. That's it for the luxury market. Let's take a look now at what happened last week in Manhattan. So what's going on in Manhattan? Well, at least what happened in Manhattan last week? Well, we're going to start, as we always do, with the 1 week look. We're going to take a look at the supply, the contracts signed, the off-market properties, and we're going to take a look at that market pulse to see what kind of market we are in Manhattan. The supply last week, it was 79 properties that came on the market. That is a change of 64.25%. That is down. Contracts signed 117, also down 35.36%. And the off-market properties 208, down just a smidge, 1.42%. We continue to be in a buyer's market in Manhattan. We're going to shift now. We're going to take a look at the 1 month look. This is going to give us a slightly broader view of where we're at in Manhattan. Supply 925, down almost 46%. Contracts signed 682, up just a little bit for the month, 2.25%. Off-market properties up almost 18%, 908. Again, doesn't matter whether we're looking at the 1 month or the 1 week. We are still kind of hovering in that buyer's market. I'm going to show you that market pulse chart as we get into the report a little deeper. But what we can see is that the supply is down fairly significantly for the month. The contract activity is actually up a little bit for the month. And those off-market properties definitely have risen. And that often has to do with what I have said before, which is if sellers can't make their deal or they feel this market does not hold for them what they needed to hold, they will take their properties off the market and just decide they're going to hang on, see what happens, or they're going to rent out their properties. But we're going to continue to look now. We're going to get into those more detailed charts. As you can see, this is far more detailed information from supply to pending sales, days on market, monthly new supply, monthly contract activity, monthly closed sales, price per square foot, median listing discount, kind of goes on and on. This is really helpful if you are needing to have specific information about a particular part of how this current market is functioning. If you have any questions about any of these charts, please do let me know. Feel free to post your questions below. Okay, here's this market pulse chart that I was talking about. You can see that here's a kind of an interesting thing. If you look at the end of this chart, so kind of where we're at right now, you can see that we're starting to go up a little bit. See that little rise at the tail end of it. We haven't quite gotten into a neutral market, but we're getting closer. And does this mean we've kind of bottomed out and the market has finally corrected and now we're kind of on the rise again, or at least we're getting a little lift? Very hard to know exactly, but buyers, this is your cue. If you start to see that the market has, let's say, kind of flattened out, and now you're seeing that it's starting to go back up again, be sure that you do not wait too long to try to make your deal, because this is really the period in which you have the most leverage. Probably between now and the end of this year will be a really, really strong time for buyers to be trying to make their deals. Sellers, you too, but you just have to be a little careful about how you're priced, and you may need to be a little more negotiable depending on how many days you've been on the market and also depending on how you are priced. So here's this supply chart. I thought it would be interesting to just take a look at the kind of the broad view from Manhattan. This is all price points, all sizes, condos, co-ops, everything in Manhattan. The supply is a little over 7,100. That is up almost 23% year to date, down 7.3% from last month, and up 2.4% from last year. So we can see that the supply from last year is really not too different. We can see that the supply is up a bit, let's say year to date. It is down a bit from last month, and that is quite normal with this time of the year to be seeing a slight decline in properties on the market. Pending sales, again, for all price points, all bedroom configurations, all property types. The Manhattan pending sales, 2,552, that is down 36% year to date, down 3.3% from last month, and down 36.4% from last year. We can see that the contract activity from last year is definitely down. We knew that was shaping up to be a kind of a lackluster fall market. And we can also see from the beginning of the year, from our busiest time in 2022, we can see that the contract activity has declined. Again, this is not a surprising chart. This is the trend that we have been seeing. And as we move closer to the end of the year, we're probably going to continue to see things moving in this direction. All right, that is it for Manhattan. Now let's take a look at what's going on in Brooklyn. Okay, so last week in Brooklyn, from a 1-week perspective, we can see that the supply is 55. That is down 67.46%, typical of this time of year when you have a kind of a seasonal decline in inventory. And the contract signed 73, that is down almost 36% from the week before. And the off-market properties up almost 16%. 89 properties went off the market last week. Again, we continue to see Brooklyn in a neutral market. If we step back and look at the 1-month look, the supply 633, that is down a little over 30%. Contract signed 484. For the month, that was up almost 8%. Off-market 403, up 21.02%. Again, likely sellers who are not thrilled with this market, not making the deals that they want to make, and they're pulling their properties off the market, perhaps to bring them back on in the spring when there are more buyers, or perhaps just to rent them out and ride it out for the time being. If you look at the market pulse on this chart, you'll see that, again, we continue to see Brooklyn in a neutral market. Brooklyn has been faring better overall market-wide than Manhattan, but with the shift that we're seeing in Manhattan for the last week and over the last month, that may change, and we may see Manhattan also move back into a neutral market. Here are those detailed charts: the supply, the pending sales, days on market, market pulse, et cetera, et cetera. These charts are really helpful for those people who really need a lot of details. There is a lot of information here. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. For the market pulse, you can see by the end of this, we have not really deviated over these last few weeks since, let's say, mid-October. We have stayed solidly in this neutral market. Yes, is it kind of towards the bottom of a neutral market? Just a little bit above a buyer's market? Yes, that is true. However, it has not been enough of a change to cause it, let's say, shift into more of a buyer's market. Again, with Brooklyn, as with Manhattan, we may have leveled out. Could well be. That is what these charts are telling us. This data is telling us that we've kind of leveled out. We know we were correcting in terms of pricing and all these activities, supply and pending activity, but now what we're seeing is a kind of a steadiness. Therefore, it could well be that we will finish out the year kind of in the same shape that we're in, no better, no worse, and we will head into 2023 in this holding pattern to see what actually will happen then when the spring market kicks in. For the supply, you can see that for all price points, all bedroom configurations, et cetera, the Brooklyn supply, 3,331 is the supply for the month. And we're seeing that's up 3.1% year to date, down almost 6% from last month, down 14.2% from last year. This is probably why Brooklyn continues to be a little stronger than Manhattan, because we just don't have as much supply in Brooklyn and there is a strong demand. For the pending sales now in Brooklyn, if we look at this chart, this is again for all price points, all bedroom configurations in Brooklyn, 1,855. That is down 31% year to date, up 2.1% from last month, and down 34.3% from last year. Again, this chart points to why Brooklyn has been I'm not going to use the word robust. I'm just going to say it has fared better, been a bit stronger as a market then Manhattan, while the pending sales are down from last year, and they're down year to date, they are up a bit from last month. And that combined with the low inventory is definitely keeping Brooklyn in a good place and in a neutral market. Okay, that's it for Brooklyn. And that is it for this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. If you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to share these videos. Feel free to subscribe to my channel so that you can get the very latest news on what's happening here in the real estate market, from the luxury market to the Manhattan market to the Brooklyn market. I'll be back next week with the very latest news on what is happening here. In the meantime, take care.